I'm going to be honest, don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life. Monk, really, I know he's manager. What kind of say this?
Gary Monk, 5 out of 10.
I haven't finished yet. I cannot believe Gabriel Bonner-Horse.
That's crazy,
That's
isn't
terrible.
it?
Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot. Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast, episode number 9, recorded on a Monday night instead of a Tuesday due to me having work commitments. I'm Dan Bardell and I'm joined, as ever, by Thomas Julian. You okay?
Yeah, you've introduced me as Thomas twice now.
Have I?
It's like my grandma.
Is it your name?
Yeah, it is my name.
So there we go then. If you call me Daniel, then I can have no complaints because that is my name.
100% so far. Well done.
You well?
Very good. Yourself?
Yeah, okay. Feels a bit weird doing it on a Monday. Probably works out quite well though, because there would have actually been a game going on whilst we were doing the podcast.
Yeah.
If we were doing it on a Tuesday, so that's probably quite helpful.
It's literally all changed this week. We're in a different studio, a different layout. We're looking in a different direction, which is kind of strange.
We've come back to the 70s in this studio. It is archaic compared to the luxury that we're used to.
It feels
usually, so we'll have to slum it for 1 week.
It feels very much like a bunker. But what a week it's been, you know. We've got a new Doctor Who, there's new Game of Thrones, and 3 Villa games since we were last here.
Yeah, 3 games to talk about. I'm not so bothered about the other 2 bits of news that you've just mentioned. I'm not a Game of Thrones fan and not a Doctor Who fan.
Okay.
You either?
I don't mind Game of Thrones. Actually, I like Game of Thrones quite a lot.
Yeah.
Doctor Who, I'm all about the women's rights. Well done, Jodie Whittaker.
I'm more about Dr. Toner than
nice.
Doctor Who, to be honest.
Well, me too.
Should we talk about things like that rather than your geeky shows that you like?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, get straight into it.
I don't know, you start. I don't feel as prepared as you this week.
Wow, as always.
Yeah.
I've got pages of notes.
I have been good with the notes the last few weeks, but today I'm not feeling quite as prepared.
Well, we have 3 games to talk about, which is quite exciting. Football is well and truly back on all Villa fans' radar. We obviously had the early games last week with Telford and Kidderminster, two good wins.
And by fluke, we've ended up watching the different one.
Yeah.
Because I watched Kiddie and you watched Telford. So for me, who didn't see that game, I've seen the goals. And for the fans who may not have seen, can you talk us through the Telford game a little bit?
Well, I won't spend too long on it because I was more interested in how we do against Shrewsbury, which we'll get onto as well. But I thought there was some really encouraging performances. I thought Green looked sharp. I thought that we moved the ball well, as we should do, against a lower league opposition. One of the main takeaways really was how many injuries we took away from that game. Obviously,
Adoma went off, didn't he?
Adoma went off. I just read that he will be out for 2 weeks, so he's going to miss the Germany trip.
Better than first feared, though. I think people were saying it was going to be a long one when he first went off.
And also Nathan Baker, which I think had real effect for the Shrewsbury game. Obviously, after Terry and Chester went off in the Shrewsbury game, as we'll talk about later. We had centre-back pairing of Hutton and Micah Richards, which was an odd one, and obviously Nathan Baker would have naturally slipped in there. So that's a shame for him, really, to give him a better go at making a case for himself to be a starter.
Well, he is a walking injury, Baker, just by nature of the way he plays the game. He does spend a fair bit of time out injured. Naturally, when he got injured last season, we looked very shaky. When he wasn't there, but I don't expect him to start the season anyway, but I do hope he recovers soon because I do think he'll play his fair share of games and he'll be a valued member of the squad. Yeah,
I like the way we fed Hogan a little bit more. He looked.
He didn't play in that game, did he? He played in the game I was watching.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he played in the kiddie game.
So I watched it all. I'm dedicated, you see.
Well, no, I've seen the highlights, but I know that Hogan was playing the kiddie game because I was obviously concentrating and like you obviously weren't.
Well, forget about these notes. Game. Should we call it that?
Throw them out the window.
But no, it was a lively performance, which is quite nice, and a good. I say good. It was an away victory. We looked confident, as we should have done against that level of side.
Yeah, kiddie game was pretty much the same. There's a few people that impressed me. I thought Hogan made some nice runs in that game.
He was in my game, man.
No, he was in my game, you idiot. Sorry. Not that we often find him with runs. I thought McCormack looked very sharp.
Okay.
In that game, I think you've got reservations about him in the game that's come more recently, but in that game, I thought he was quite sharp. I'm trying to remember who played. Chester got a goal in, nice goal. Horan had a good delivery in that game, scored one, set up one as well, and then obviously one of the kids has come on and scored as well. I think it was Harry McCurdy linking up with I think it was Blackett Taylor put the cross in. But so it's nice to see some kids on the pitch. and doing well. And then obviously we've gone on to Shrewsbury at the weekend, which, as I'm a poor fan, I was out all day on Saturday, so I haven't actually watched the game. But I've seen a lot of complaints. There's a lot of complaints. As you've seen it, can you?
Yeah, I kind of feel like through all three games, we've Villa fans, or all fans really, have been waiting so long for football, and we've won our first two games, and everyone's really, really excited, and then everyone feels like it's kind of come crashing back down to earth because we lost 2-1 to Shrewsbury. I mean, I thought actually. I read a write-up of the game, and obviously after watching it, I thought it was quite harsh. They said that we had no chances in the first half. We didn't have any shots, but I thought we put some nice bits of play together. Shrewsbury definitely deserved it in the second half, which is disappointing. But as I kind of mentioned earlier, we took off our two centre-backs and our two captains.
We made 8 changes on an hour, didn't we?
Yeah, but those two in particular, when you take out the kind of real crux of the team, it's no wonder that it looked a little bit disjointed. I was quite disappointed with Veretout, actually.
I heard he didn't have a good game.
His first touch just seems to be a bit scary, really. It kind of goes anywhere. And
rusty.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. And that's kind of what I was coming on to. I don't want to be too harsh on the first. I would call that the first real pre-season game of the season. Like a decent Shrewsbury side, competitive, and yeah, he did look rusty, but let's wait and see. I thought there was an interesting couple of points on Twitter why he was starting over some other midfielders when he's obviously handed in a transfer request. He may not be here for the future. Maybe Steve Bruce just wants to kind of encourage him and say, you can fight for a place here.
Maybe he wanted to put him in the shop window, but by the sounds of things, that he won't have encouraged many people to come in for him. He's been heavily linked with Real Betis over the past week or so. I think people overreact to losing friendlies. Every team will usually ends up losing to inferior opposition at pre-season. It happens a lot. It will have happened to Villa every season for probably the last 20 years that have lost to a team that you'd expect to beat by name. You'd expect Aston Villa to beat Shrewsbury. That's why I quite like the format of playing 2 games in one night, because the players get the minutes that they need. So you get a more, I don't know what the word is, you get a more cohesive performance because the players are on the pitch for longer. Look, if you're making 8 changes on 60 minutes when the game's 0-0, those players aren't going to hit the ground running straight away. To me, it's all about fitness. The results are only become important. Like for the Watford game, for example, if we're not playing well by the Watford game and we're not looking like a side that's going to mount a challenge, then okay, I might be a little bit concerned. But at this stage, it's purely just to give people minutes. I thought there was quite a hefty overreaction. I get that people want to see a nicer brand of football. I do too, but not at this stage of pre-season. It's not going to happen for me. That's just my opinion, though.
I agree with you. I think it's important to see the ideas are there. And actually, I thought Andre Green played really well wide right, which I don't think is his favourite position. Yeah, and
more of a left-sided player.
And actually, Alan Hutton, who we've talked about quite a lot on this podcast, I thought he really impressed me. He was bombing on and attacking a lot when he was at right back, as he tends to do. There's always that petulance with Alan Hutton. He gave away a foul right at the end of the first half, which he should have been booked for in a real game, and that's the kind of the worry with Hutton, is that sometimes he'll get the wrong side of his man and then just kind of give away a cheap foul or something like that. We didn't feed Scott Hogan nearly enough, I didn't think.
I've heard that.
There was one point, again, in the first half where he had a little bit of link-up play, got it out to Neil Taylor, and we created a chance from there. And as we talked a little bit about earlier, I thought Ross McCormack was almost anonymous, to be honest. He gave the ball away a few times. Again, a little bit of rust, perhaps, but the runs didn't seem to be there for me. Maybe he still needs to get used to playing in this Villa side again.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the 4-4-2 that we're lining up. No one really plays 4-4-2 anymore. It's not an innovative system, is it? I don't think that 4-4-2 will get our best players on the pitch, and I don't think it will get the best out of our players. So that's a concern, because if you start in the pre-season 4-4-2, a back-to-basics approach, well, we were kind of already back to basics at the tail end of last season, albeit playing a different formation. I think he wants to play 2 up front, but to me, a flat 4-4-2 isn't the way forward.
It doesn't seem, again, watching the first couple of games here, it doesn't feel like we've got quite the right strikers for the formation that Steve Bruce wants to play, does it? It feels just a little bit like square pegs, round holes for me.
Oh, we're obviously going to miss Codger, because he's obviously one of our strongest players, so having him not there is a problem. But McCormack, and Hogan have scored a lot of goals in the Championship over the last few seasons. I think I put on Twitter the other day, those two and Codger, they've had 80-plus goals in the Championship over the last 2 seasons. So I don't think the strikers are necessarily the problem. I just don't think we're playing in the right way to get the best out of them. But I'm contradicting myself then a bit, I suppose, because I still don't think pre-season really means anything. I mean, didn't Chelsea win 8-2 against Fulham the other day?
Quite possibly.
Yeah, that happened. So that's a ridiculous scoreline that wouldn't happen if they were playing in a competitive game. I just don't think you can read too much into when you make 8 changes on 60 minutes and you've got Alan Hutton and Mika Richards playing centre-back, because unless there was a huge injury crisis, you're not going to see those two at centre-back at any point during the Villa season.
Totally. Well, that's the first half was quite important for me because it looked a little bit like it might be the back five, including Johnston, that we start with Hutton and Taylor, either side of Chester and Terry. Bjarnason played pretty well.
Yeah,
I was quite impressed with him. He did some nice link-up play. He was starting on the left again. Not sure that's totally where he wants to be.
That's his favoured role, I believe.
Oh, okay, interesting. I thought he'd be more dynamic because he's really good at linking up. I thought he'd be quite useful, more central. But if he's happy, he looked happy.
He's still getting used to it. He's still getting used to English football completely. He's probably, has he played 4 or 5 games in English football now? And the Championship's an unforgiving... Oh, well, good knowledge.
Yeah.
It's an unforgiving place, the Championship. So he's still getting used to things. There's a lot of players still getting used to things at the moment. I'd expect us to look a lot better. Even on Tuesday against Walsall, I'd expect us to look a lot better than we did the other day. And in a few weeks' time, by the time we play Watford, I'd expect to see some kind of semblance of what the side's going to be looking like come week 1 against Hull. Yeah,
so by the time you're able to download this, I guess we will be lining up against Walsall that day, tomorrow, as it is now. And I think, again, like you've said before, pre-season's about fitness, but tomorrow we're starting to see a little bit more cohesion.
Hopefully.
And a little bit more link-up play, and Steve Bruce is then starting to really work out the team that he's going to take and use in the Watford game, because again we've still got the Germany tournament as well.
Yeah,
that's a shorter format, 40-minute games,
bizarre.
Isn't it? But
bizarre.
That for me is going to be all about fitness, getting the players to be sharp, ready, and fighting for a championship place in the kind of curtain opener against Watford. Really,
he'll have in his mind, Bruce, what he wants to do. That's slightly concerning, because if it is 4-4-2, I am worried.
Yeah.
That I don't think that is the formation for us. It doesn't get, as I've said, I'm repeating myself, it doesn't suit us in my eyes, and that just smacks of I want to play 2 up front. But Bruce has got to be careful. I've said it before. The fans are very, very demanding at Aston Villa, and rightly so, because we are in the Championship. And although there's been a lot of mismanagement, and Dr. Tony, Keith Weiner, Steve Bruce, and Steve Rand are still cleaning up messes from previous regimes, if we get off to a bad start, Dr. Tony will not hang around.
Yeah.
I don't think he will.
Well, and neither will the fans. We've already seen it. Yeah. Even in the questions for the Villa View, kind of constantly there's should Steve Bruce stick around? When should we get rid of Steve Bruce? What is the minimum acceptable level that Steve Bruce can achieve? And I think for all of us, that's promotion and at least a playoff finish.
I mean, I'm a strong believer in stability, but then sometimes you can end up hanging around for the sake of it. I mean, we stuck with Lambert for a long time, and in the end I was a big advocate of his to begin with, but then he did go completely stale, completely lost the plot, and should have been gone a lot sooner. I don't think Dr. Tony will mess around. For example, Di Matteo, we didn't mess around because Bruce was available, in my opinion. If Bruce hadn't been available, perhaps Di Matteo would have got a bit longer, but if it's the same kind of situation, if there's a good manager at this level available and we don't get off to a good start, they won't risk missing out on that manager, in my opinion.
You've talked about stability there. There's we're going to get onto the comments fairly shortly, but there was a great one. I can't remember who it was from, who said that there's only 4 players in the current Villa squad who have over 100 appearances, and the next
I didn't say that one.
And the next one is the next leading appearance maker is 60, Jack Grealish, and I feel like that is a really important part of this, part of growing a squad. You know, you need to know each other. You need to know the players that are around you.
I found it. Andrew O'Riordan.
Okay,
that's a pretty good point. That's a good little fact, because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Do you think this is one of the reasons Villa never seem to gel or have any fluidity?
Yeah, I think that's definitely
a case for it. Yeah,
it definitely makes the pre-season in Portugal, this trip to Germany, the time for the players to really bond and develop a friendship as well as a routine on the pitch as well. I think that becomes even more important. And a lot of these players, or a lot of the young players, certainly came in January, or they've been brought into the squad in dribs and drabs. It's Steve Bruce's time as well to get to know his players as well. So there needs to be some sort of underlying kind of cohesion before we even get on the pitch.
I trust Bruce, and I trust that he will get it right and that we'll be okay this season, that we'll be at least challenging for the top 6 at the very least. I do trust him because he has got a track record, but Villa seem to have lacked any cohesion for as long as I can remember, since the O'Neill days, really. It's because there's too many sweeping changes all the time, so that's one of the things that makes me think we should stick with Bruce, because he needs a bit of time. There's probably things going on in the background that we don't even know about that he's had to deal with. I mean, Grealish being your 4th or 5th highest appearance maker in your team, that's concerning. That shows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's 21, 22.
Yeah, not great at all. So the next friendly, as we've mentioned already, Walsall Tuesday night, again on YouTube, live and available to watch. Are you busy on Tuesday night, or will you be tuning in?
I'll be pretty knackered because I'm in early at work, big day at Sky on Tuesday, but I'll be tuning in.
Oh, good.
I would, for sure. I don't
mean,
mess around when Villa are on.
All you have to do is sit on your couch. It's not particularly difficult, is it?
Well, sometimes when Villa are playing, it's difficult to stay awake.
Yeah, well,
that could be a serious issue. I'll be watching. I think Matt Lynch might be going. I could have got that wrong, but he lives pretty local to that when he's not at uni, so it'd be surprising for me if he wasn't attending the Matt Lynch derby.
Yeah.
Probably talking about Matt Lynch is now a good time to do a quick swerve onto the Villa Views latest offerings. I don't know if you caught up with the Villa View.
I have.
Did you enjoy?
I watched
our video at Bodymoor Heath.
Watched it while I was ironing.
Yeah, well, nice.
Yeah. The product of.
You have not done a great job ironing that shirt.
I mean, it's been a long day.
It's a questionable shirt in general.
What do you mean?
To be honest, just the pinkness of it. It's neither pink nor white for me. That
it's
shirt.
Pink.
Is it?
It's 100% pink.
Maybe it's the fact we're in this bunker that's not helping you with some dodgy light.
It's that spotlight.
Yeah.
Yes, I watched your better experience at Bodymoor Heath.
Yeah, enjoyable day.
A very enjoyable day for you guys.
Yeah.
It made me just insanely jealous. Obviously, we talked a little bit about it last week. Dan and Matt got to go to Bodymoor Heath, Villa's training ground, play with Stan, Dean Saunders, Emil Heskey and Dion Dublin.
Yeah, it's a good video, I'd say. I mean, obviously, I have nothing to do with the editing or filming.
Yeah.
I'm just there taking part. But I think it's probably our strongest video.
From an editorial point of view, Dan Rolinson's done a quality job. From a skills point of view, from Dan and Matt, I would be slightly concerned
I think
about.
that's very harsh on me, as I've gone there and lifted the trophy.
I mean, don't spoil it for everybody.
I think everyone knows it's been all over social media.
Yeah.
We did take a bit of criticism for plastering it over social media, and I did feel the need to defend us slightly in the YouTube comments. I mean, 9 times out of 10, the comments we got on the Villa View are absolutely brilliant. People really enjoy what we're doing. We really appreciate that they're watching. But every now and again, you get someone who obviously isn't happy, which is fair because you're never going to please everyone. But we've actually worked quite hard to be in the position that we're in. So the only reason we're posting things on Twitter and posting the videos is because we believe that a lot of people enjoy them and they want to know what we've been up to. I mean, we weren't the only ones who were there from a Villa supporter point of view who didn't win the competition. There was representatives from Villa Talk. My old man said there was other people there as well. It's just that perhaps Birmingham Mail. Perhaps maybe we're a little bit more vocal on the old social media than some people would like.
I mean, that's what the Villa View is. It's a social media platform. It's generated for fans, by the fans, and you guys are fans. And there's no denying you guys had an amazing trip there, and it's an unbelievable experience. And you're welcome to share it with the world.
Hopefully everyone enjoyed. It's got good views so far, which is good, and everyone who's commenting seems to have enjoyed it. I do think sooner or later we're going to have to stop taking Matt Lynch to football challenges, though, because he's coming up a bit short.
I feel like I'm knocking on the door, Matt. So it's about time. You know, you really stepped up. You did score. I know you're going to say that, but
that was a cross and a half.
It looked debatable to me.
No way, that was a shot, was there?
What do you think about the quality of the facilities at Bodymoor Heath? Is it Championship level, Premier League level?
Premier League level, but I wouldn't say it's top of the range anymore like it was when it first got redone under Andy Lerner. Mm-hmm. I think there's now facilities that are out of this world. Man City, Tottenham, they're the 2 that spring to mind. Villa are probably a bit behind that in terms of training facilities now, but it's not really a priority. Is it? The priority is getting to the Premier League, and after that, the other stuff will come.
You think?
Yeah. Well, Keith Weiner said that in the supporters consultation group.
I don't mean that it will come. You don't mean it's a chicken and egg scenario. If we had better facilities, we'd be more ready to go.
I don't think the facilities are the reason why Villa have found themselves in the Championship. Put it that way.
I am definitely playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. But yeah, an amazing experience and a great video as well. So make sure you check it out on YouTube.
And there's another video to come, a behind the scenes look at that day. So less football, more of what was going on behind the scenes, coming later on in the week.
Also, if you want to check out Matt Kendrick's football skills,
he was actually a good player. He was actually quite decent, but
sure.
Fitness is a problem for Matt.
Yeah.
He'll openly admit that, and I did enjoy seeing that bloopers reel
Yeah.
put together. It was my idea. I was quite pleased with how that turned out.
Yeah.
The music made it.
That was a tough one for Matt to take. But
Yeah.
you put on a performance like that.
He's a good sport though.
Yeah.
And I was thank him for he obviously ran a story and put the video on the Birmingham Mail website today. So thanks to Matt Kendrick and the Birmingham Mail for doing that.
So you stitch him up, but thank him. So
He loved
everything's
it.
forgiven.
I think his co-writers enjoyed it.
So Dion Dublin was actually there. I have a little story about Dion Dublin.
I can't believe you're going to tell this story.
You're not impressed
Actually,
with
it's
it?
all right. It's all right. It's okay.
Thanks for killing it before we even
I
started.
think we know what I know what the answer is to this story.
Do you?
I think so.
Right, so when I was a kid, I must have been 12, 13 or so, I got some post, which is quite exciting when you're a 12-year-old, you know.
I don't remember. So long ago.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't get a lot of post, and I opened it up, and there was a signed photo of Dion Dublin in a Leicester kit. I've no affiliation to Leicester. I didn't write to Dion Dublin asking for a photo. I've literally no idea where that
None of
came
your family
from.
support Leicester or anything?
No affiliation. Where did it come from?
I don't know. I think your mum and dad may be lying to you.
It's one of life's great mysteries.
I mean, I don't think people are going to be staying awake at night worrying about it.
Oh, I am.
But, you know, like when you went to your mum and dad and said, Mum, is Father Christmas real? And she went, yeah. She was obviously lying. So do you think it's one of those kind of things? You're a 12-year-old, they did something nice for you. They didn't want to spoil the childhood illusion.
It doesn't make any sense because I was a Villa fan. So surely they would have done
he
it when he
played
was at
for
Villa.
Villa. He played for Villa.
But I don't need a Leicester City signed Dion Dublin.
He's still a Villa hero, whether he's wearing a Leicester shirt or not.
Kind of takes
What
away.
do you do? Well, you wouldn't have put it in the bin, would you?
Still got it.
Still got it now, yeah, because you took a picture of it and sent it to him, and I thought, what on earth has he sent me that for?
Anyway, if anybody knows why I've got a signed photo of Dion Dublin, or if you've had a random experience like that.
If you'd have told me before, I could have asked him.
Well, yeah, that's true. I didn't really think about it.
No.
I'm moving house, so I found it when we were moving.
Yeah, interesting story. Please don't switch off at this point from the podcast. We won't let Tom start any topics for the next 10 or so minutes at the very least after that.
Oh, wow, that seems unfair. I've got another one lined up if you want.
Go on then.
It's been a busy week, and we haven't even mentioned the signing of Sam Johnston. There's another Villa View video up, kind of you and Matt critiquing the move. You happy with it?
I'm happy to get goalkeeper sorted. I'm not 100% sold on Sam Johnston. Would love to be proved wrong. We'll get behind him from the get-go. I think I was a bit hard on him when he first joined last time. That was mainly because of my beef with us getting rid of Galini, who I did really like and I still do really like, as you can see if you watch that video. I'd rather it was a permanent. The loan doesn't sit well with me because if he does well, he's out of contract. And he's not going to come to Villa unless we've got promoted.
Yeah, you feel like it's going to be a Cleverly type situation.
Yeah, I just wish we'd get... I said it in the video, I just feel like we do kind of always take a half measure with goalkeeper, and that's been ever since Brad Friedel, really. We just always took a bit of a half measure with it, or not quite got it right. And it's such an important position because it resonates down the rest of the team. The goalkeeper, but he did improve towards the back end of the season. He made some good saves in some of the games, and obviously he had a good clean sheets record as well. At one point, I think we had 7 out of 8 clean sheets. To me, he doesn't make enough game-defining saves, but he could probably point back and say, I was settling in, I came in mid-season, it's difficult to join a club in January and hit the ground running. So now he's got quite a lot of the pre-season with us. I'd expect to see a different goalkeeper come week 1.
He actually did say that. He did a video for Aston Villa Official.
Yeah.
Lacking a little bit of personality is Sam Johnston.
Say that. You can't say that.
You know.
You don't know the kid.
I mean, he seemed like a nice guy, smiling a lot, but it's just a little bit.
Maybe he's not done many interviews before.
No, that's true. We'll give him time.
Yeah.
That wasn't a shot. I say what I see.
If you go back and look at your performance in the first week of the podcast, I mean, admittedly, it's not got much better since then, but you were a rabbit in the headlights.
Do you think?
Yeah, you were nervous.
Anyway,
you were worried.
The video is on AV Official, and he talks about himself, about how he came in obviously in January, didn't have that time to settle in, wanted to make the number 1 position his own, and now he's done that.
He's got the number 1 shirt.
He's going to go in there as number 1, and I think that's quite exciting for him. He said it was an easy choice for him to make. He always wanted to come back, and
I believe him.
Yeah, so do I. Why wouldn't you? Playing in front of 30,000 people, you know.
That might be a reason why he wouldn't want to come back, because it can be very demanding the whole 10 when you're in goal there. I remember John Gregory saying about when Michael Oakes used to be in goal, and they analysed the goals conceded, and it was most of them were conceded at the whole 10, so they felt that he wasn't dealing with the pressure.
Really?
Well, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, I think if you're a Manchester United youth product, you're probably ready or
He should be.
definitely wanting to take that pressure. And I'm quite excited about seeing him in this system again for a second year. And hopefully we can get the best out of him. He gets us up, and then he and we will have that headache as to what to do next year about a goalkeeper.
Being fair to Johnston, probably one thing that he's never had is knowing that he's coming in and he's going to be somewhere for the whole season and play games. So for him now to have that in the back of his mind, that might be a good thing for him. Maybe he can relax a little bit, because it can't be easy being a young goalkeeper and you get farmed off here, there and everywhere every 10 seconds, which is what's happened to him. He's played at a number of teams. So for him actually having the stability of knowing he's going to be at Villa for the season, that might be a good thing for him. Hopefully he can build on it. I want him to do well. Obviously, just 'cause I'm not 100% sold on him doesn't mean I don't want him to do well. I'd love people to be able to be saying to me, "Oh, you got that wrong, didn't you?" Because it means Aston Villa will be benefiting and doing well. It's just the loan thing that is the only thing that bothers me.
So it's a very good point, and I think the goalkeeper is such a crucial position. It would be nice to have, to use an Americanism, a franchise kind of player, a guy that's there for the entirety of his career and is a quality player. It doesn't always work like that, though.
It very rarely happens anywhere,
Yeah.
in any position.
Last week we talked a little bit about how bloated the squad was. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Only a week ago, 6 days ago.
I mean, you forgot about the Leandro Bacuna thing
true.
before.
That's
so,
true.
So in my preparation, I've made some cards for you. I want to play a little game with you.
Okay.
You up for this?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? It can't be any worse than your Dion Dublin story.
You
Let's
don't
go.
seem overly enthused.
No, I am.
So basically, what I've got is the whole of the Aston Villa squad here.
Can I just point out, this is the most, for people watching the video, this is the most needless use of paper
Whoa.
I've ever seen. He's printed out all the players' heads in colour for no reason, really. You could have just wrote their names down.
I meant to do, I meant to do a little stat sheet, but I mean I have a job to do, so I didn't.
Yeah, your job's to prepare for the podcast, Thomas.
Right. Anyway, I'm going to recycle it, so it'll be okay. So we'll go through the whole squad. You have to say keep or sell. All right, and we're going to work out.
What if I think we should loan them? Can I say loan?
Yeah, all
It's
right.
been a bit pedantic.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll and I'm going to keep score.
Okay.
And by the end of our little game here, we're going to work out how big our squad is going to be. And
Well, this is just if I was manager, isn't it? So this isn't
Essentially.
necessarily what's going to happen. Okay.
well, yeah, of course. There's no. I don't have Steve Bruce here.
No. Just say if I was manager, I would not be bringing you or Matt in as my assistant.
Really?
No.
What about me as a right or left winger?
I'd rather have you on the pitch, actually, than behind the scenes, to be fair. You're quite a nifty footballer.
That seems fair. Right, let's start with an easy one. Pierluigi Golini.
Given the captaincy for 25 years. He's not coming back, so sell, because he isn't going to come back.
Okay, he's out. So I should have made another thing here. Let's sell. There you go.
I think you're doing too much here. We don't. Okay, you're doing a tally. Fair enough.
Jed Steer.
Keep. Hopefully challenge for the number one.
Mark Bunn.
Keep for the season, but then not after that for me.
Sam Johnston.
Obviously, going to be staying for the season.
Yeah. On to defenders. Nathan Baker.
Keep.
A lot of keeps here so far. Neil Taylor.
Keep.
I should have maybe cut out.
You've had a lot of keeps here so far,
Yeah,
but
well,
they're obvious ones to keep.
This is important because we've talked a lot about how bloated the squad is and
it is
how we
bloated.
need to cut down. But it's more difficult than you think, isn't it?
Well, it's difficult to get people to buy your players. That's the most difficult
You
thing.
can play along at home if you like. So far, we're at 5-1. Mika Richards.
I like him, but if we could get money and get his wages off, then we should, but we won't. So sell, but he'll end up staying.
I would
And that's his
definitely-
prerogative. We've paid him that money.
I would definitely try and get rid. I wouldn't even want money for him. He looked overweight in both obviously in both pre-seasons. It's only a few days apart, but he doesn't look ready to play in the Championship for me. Tommy Elphick.
Sell, go in anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. James Chester.
Keep.
Yeah. James Bree.
Keep.
Alan Hutton.
Begrudgingly sell in the end, Alan Hearn.
Alan Hutton, actually, I really enjoyed his pre-season performances, so I'd be on the fence with him.
I am. It depends what happens with Delat, that's the problem.
Yeah. Jordan Amavi.
Keep, because I don't think we're going to get a good fee for him now. And then we'll have to buy another left back anyway, so it seems a bit pointless.
You don't think we've got enough cover?
Not a left back, we've got no one. Plus the fact that he's actually shown a good attitude. His moves fell through. He could have sulked, but he turned up at the pre-season game against lowly opposition and put his heart and soul into it, so fair play to him.
Fair enough.
For that.
Richard Delact.
Keep. But then it's very much, it's him or Hudson really for me.
On to midfielders. Henry Lansbury.
Keep.
Bacuna.
Just about keep.
Just about. Aaron Tishabola.
I think he's going to go on loan again for the season. He'll end up. I don't think Bruce likes him, so unless a manager comes in and says something that Bruce doesn't, he'll be gone long term. I'm on the fence with him, to be honest, Tishabola. I'm not sure.
Out on loan? You want to
loan him, yeah, so that'll be an out.
Okay.
I don't imagine he's earning massive wages.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Well, I hope not. Conor Hurahan.
Keep.
Jordan Vertu.
Keep at the moment. But he's one of the few I think we'll get money for. So that's a problem.
I would sell there. Andre Green.
Keep.
I definitely didn't need all this paper.
No.
Birkir Bjarnason.
Keep. Yeah, some of these weren't needed on there.
Gary Gardner.
Again, I think, like Kieran Clark, I think a move would do Gardner good. I think he'd do well to be out of the Aston Villa bubble, so sell. For the good of his career as much as anything.
Very magnanimous of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mili Jednak.
Keep.
Adoma.
Keep.
Jordan Lydon.
Keep.
How do you feel you're getting on in terms of
not very well. I'm doing as well as about Villa are.
Jordan Grealish.
Jordan Grealish. Keep.
What about his brother Jordan?
No, I don't think his brother's called Kevan. Hello to Kevan. I don't know whether he listens. He sometimes likes our posts.
Very good news.
Yeah.
Onto the strikers. Scott Hogan.
Yep. Keep.
Gabby Agbonlahor.
I don't know. I'm on the fence with him as well. Keep him for another year. You may as well, because he's not going to go anywhere.
Out of contract in the summer.
Yeah, he won't be here past that, I wouldn't have thought.
Jonathan Kodja.
Keep.
Cormac.
Keep.
McCormack. Keenan Davis.
Keep. And Hepburn Murphy, keep.
Russian Hepburn Murphy.
Well, that was an enthralling game, Tom. Thank you very much.
How many games did you come up with today?
It's not really a game, is it?
What?
It's not really a
You
game.
didn't think it was a game?
What does that leave our squad with then? Which was the whole purpose of what we've just...
you want to know the results?
Interested, yeah.
All right, okay. We've got 25 kept. So you've got a squad of 25.
That's quite a lot.
You've got 5 sold and 1 on loan.
The thing is, in that list I've said of keep, if there's people there that if they went, I'd accept it, it'd be fine. Mm-hmm. So there's we'd be here all day though if we're going through the merits of why we should keep people, why we shouldn't, certain scenarios.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the kind of point of that exercise, if you want a learning point, is actually 25 is not a huge squad.
No.
And it's got a good youth of a good blend of youth and experience there.
Ideally, I think you need a squad of 23 supplemented by youth. So if you count in Hepburn, Murphy, Keenan Davis and Lydon as youth, that's probably about right.
Yeah, and we've talked again before about actually there is quality in this squad. Once you get playing together, I didn't mention John Terry.
Oh, no.
Well, we'll add one more, 26.
Failure.
Our captain and leader.
Yeah, number 26 as well. Becomes man in the squad, 26.
It's almost like I planned it.
Yeah. What do you think of the captaincy? Moving swiftly away from your game.
I liked it. I think John Terry's a natural leader. I think the most important thing about the captaincy is whether James Chester was the type of guy that would have kicked off if he'd lost it. Exactly, which means that it makes every sense in the world for me to give John Terry the armband. Disagree?
No, it's a logical choice, and Chester seems like a logical character, not one to kick up a stink. Mm-hmm. He will have probably accepted. I'm sure he liked being Aston Villa captain. I'm sure he didn't want to lose the armband, but I'm sure he can accept the fact that probably this time next year he'll get it back.
Yeah.
That's what I would have thought.
I totally agree. And watching John Terry against Shrewsbury, he looked like a captain. He was already kind of commanding. He just comes in. He doesn't need to know the system particularly well. He knows what he does. He can organise the back four. And even just seeing him, he played a couple of quick free kicks over the top. He tried to hit Alan Hutton on a 60-yard ball or something like that, and it was and he had the vision to get it there. It was defended, but I think that kind of quick thinking and that nous will again benefit the Villa team.
He'll be a class act. I'm sure he will. He'll be what we thought Tommy Elphick was going to be this time last year. I just wanted to just touch on Elphick. Mm-hmm. It looks like he's going to Birmingham. Cue Max Roberts crying into his signed photo.
Yeah.
Signed shirt, even not signed photo.
Dion Dublin still on your mind?
I feel like Elphick, Villa was too big a club for him. And that sounds a bit nasty to say that, because I do think he was a good servant last season. He never kicked up a stink about losing his place in the team, and Steve Bruce talks like he was really good in the dressing room and on the training ground still. But I think he'll go to Blues and he'll do all right. But I don't think it's something we should be crying over.
No.
And I don't think there'll be many other than Max Roberts that are crying.
Do you think he'll be a future captain there?
Probably. That's the kind of thing I'd expect Redknapp to do. It's what we did.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Blues would be the right kind of level for him, and I kind of aim that as a dig at Blues, and I kind of don't. I just think look at the clubs he's played for. No disrespect to Brighton or Bournemouth, they're not renowned clubs. There isn't a great pressure that comes with playing for those clubs. Whereas playing for Villa, the fan base is more demanding than a Brighton or a Bournemouth. And he had a couple of bad games, Alfie, and he never recovered from it. Scored an own goal against Newcastle, had an absolute mare in that first half, and probably should have been dragged at half time. And then didn't really get back into the team again because Nathan Baker and Chester was a better partnership. So he'll probably be on reasonable wages as well. So he's one that's actually sellable, which is a good thing. I don't think we'll get our money back. I think it'll be cheap. I think we paid about $3 million for him. I'd be shocked if we got half of that.
Yeah.
Because he's regressed.
He's a £1 million player.
He's regressed in a year, and that's what happens. Sometimes things just don't work out. It's not his fault, not for a want of trying from him, and he could say he didn't have a run of games, but it's a good move for him. He hasn't got to uproot his family. I'm not quite sure where he lives, but I'd imagine he doesn't have to uproot his family, and I think Blues will be the kind of level that he's used to, and he'll do well there.
Couldn't agree more. I think you've summed that up quite nicely.
Thank you.
You got any more on your post-it note there, or are you
no?
Want to get some comments?
Just before we came in, apparently Sky sources were saying that El Mohammadi from Hull, we've activated a release clause in his contracts for $1 million. So for $1 million, and I'm not delighted by the signing because I've simply never thought he was a good footballer. But if he comes in, I'll get behind him. I'll back him. I saw Matt Lynch saying something on Twitter similar. That's the way it should be. Until he's pulled on a Villa shirt and played football for Aston Villa, it'd be harsh to judge him, but I have never thought he was a good footballer, and I don't think that we need him, but I'll get behind him if he's wearing a Villa shirt.
I just feel like we've got all these players here, all this paper. He doesn't excite me. It doesn't feel like he brings something new to the squad that we don't already have.
29 as well.
Yeah.
Like, he's played for Sunderland and Hull, and joined them at times when Steve Bruce has been manager. It's like Steve Bruce. He's like the new Alex Bruce, essentially, just following Steve Bruce around.
Could be.
His adopted son.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see if it happens. I mean, if the release clause is triggered, then presumably the deal will get done, and we'll welcome him as a new Villa player, and hopefully he can help us with promotion. We'll wait and see.
Should we do some questions as I boot up my phone that's decided to come off the questions that I had up on the phone?
See, I mean, you knock my paper and
I'm there. But it's a matter of seconds, Tom.
All right, mate.
Roger Wheeler was a bit... Good Villa Twitter man, Roger Wheeler, someone I've really enjoyed talking to.
I assume you don't want me in the camera.
Over the years, sorry. Over the years. My mum won't watch if you're not in the camera.
Me or that guy from Coronation Street.
Yeah, he's worried about Hogan, saying he's cutting a frustrated figure in pre-season, and to be fair, that was what happened towards the end of the season as well. I just don't think we're on his wavelength yet, and I think Roger said that I haven't got it in front of me here, but he said something about Hogan would go to make runs and then realise that, I've made that run 3 times and I haven't got the ball, and then he'd hesitate and end up going back, and then someone will play the ball. So I just think it's a case of not being on the same wavelength left. I want him to come good, though, because I think he's a finisher.
I think, again, against Shrewsbury, John Terry tried to hit Hogan over the top. So maybe that will come a little bit more. I don't really want us to become a long ball team, just punting it up for Hogan to chase.
Yeah.
But it got us out of a spot of bother where we were trying to clear our lines, and I think it was Terry got rid of it, and Shrewsbury ended up conceding the throw in as well, so it gave us a little bit of breathing space. So maybe there's room to try and use him a little bit more.
He's a good player, Hogan. I'd expect him to do better when someone like Grealish is on the pitch. If Grealish can get into Steve Bruce's first 11. He's deceptively quick as well. You wouldn't look at him and think he was fast, but Hogan's actually very, very quick. So he's a weapon if we use him. Plucky said, guys, after the 3 games, are you worried we can't seem to get the ball in behind for runs, especially Scott's? It doesn't seem to change, so we've basically just covered that.
Yeah.
He said, also, do you agree selling Ross at this time would be a disaster, especially to a rival? Well, Sunderland have got off to a ropey pre-season start. They lost 3-0 to someone you wouldn't expect them to lose to, and they're the ones who've been heavily linked with him. I don't think we'll sell, because we paid $12 million for him, and again, we'd be lucky if we got $3-4 million at the current time, so it doesn't make sense to sell and then potentially strengthen a rival. That does make no sense.
Well, see, that's the reason. The first thing you said there about we're not going to get our money back is more worrisome for me. I wouldn't, if an offer came in from a rival or otherwise, I wouldn't mind getting rid of Ross McCormack, I don't think.
I still think he has a role to play this season.
We shall see.
In my opinion. Frank Marbella Lyons, a regular commenter on the Villa View. Hello, Frank. Says 2 up front or not. To decide our formation, we need to work backwards, starting with our weakest area, scoring. I've said before that I'm no problem with 2 up front, but in a flat 4-4-2, I don't think that gets our best players on the pitch, whereas a 4-4-2 diamond, I believe that would get our best players on the pitch, and I think that would suit the personnel that we have. So for me, we can play two up front for sure, and I think we are reasonably bloated in striker to keep everyone happy. We'll have to play two up front, because I think it'll be two up front to start the season, and I think it'll be Gabby and Hogan. Yeah, to start the season. Yeah,
that worries me a little bit. I like having midfield players and really getting out wide. But having said that, I kind of agree with you that Bruce is happy with what he's doing, and it will be likely that we will start with two.
Yeah, just skipping through a couple because it's stuff that we've already covered. So thanks to Adam Wright, Tom Cowley for their questions, but we have already covered.
It was a good question by Carl Palmer, who asked if you could compare yourself to a Villa player, past or present, who would it be?
I don't know. I'll let the people decide. They've watched the video. They've seen that I'm obviously reasonable in goal. Perhaps not reached my peak yet. Maybe I'm a Galena. Maybe that's why I like him so much, because he reminds me of myself.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know who I think you are.
So do I.
Who are you going to say?
James Milner.
Yeah, that was who I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's a bit big-headed of you to think that of yourself.
Well, I'm not as good as James Milner, but
you're a similar ilk.
I work hard.
You could play anywhere, I think.
Good engine, versatile.
Yeah. Boring.
I was going to say boring. And I can hit a great penalty and free kick as well. So yeah.
Yeah, you are a good footballer, to be fair. You're better than me and Matt. Definitely. We should maybe start sending you to represent us in these things, because it is a bit embarrassing.
It's very big of you.
Trying to find some more questions here. A few people have asked about where I think we'll finish. I'm not prepared to answer that at this stage, because I just think it's too early.
When should we do a prediction, do you think? After Watford?
End of August.
End of the season.
No, end of August. I was going to say, when the transfer window's done, you know what everyone's side looks like. That's the best time to do it. You can still do it just before the season starts, but for me, it makes more sense to do it in August. Mm-hmm. Plus, you've had the benefit of 6 or 7 games by then as well. I like this question from Adam Waters. He says, loving the podcast, lads. So thanks for that, Adam. Appreciate that a lot. I go through Twitter, Facebook, etc., and I never see a Doma in people starting best 11s. Why do you think that is? The reason, I can only speak for myself, the reason he's not in mine is because I don't think he suits what I think would be our best system, 4-4-2 diamond.
Yeah,
he's a decent player. He frustrates me a little bit.
He's a little bit unactive as well in his playing style.
I was going to say, that's
I mean, I'm not going to
hark at David Beckham sitting next to me.
I don't think he captures the emotions that people maybe want to see when they're looking for fast flowing, attractive football. Maybe that's a little bit harsh as well.
I think he is, because I actually think there was games when he played well last season, the whole team played well. But to me, it comes down to, do you play 4-3-3 with the Doma wide and Green on the left and whoever up front, or do you play 4-4-2 diamond, get 2 up front? And to me, I'm a big advocate of Jack Grealish. You get Jack Grealish in the team.
Yeah.
So if it becomes would I rather see Grealish playing a number 10 or see a Doma on the wing? I'd rather see Grealish playing the 10.
Whatever it is, we need to decide on it pretty quickly and get comfortable with it.
Yeah. Monkey Boy 1978 says, Jedinak key player or a problem? Can he play in a midfield too? Is his passing good enough and is he mobile enough? This again comes down to systems. If you're playing a 4-4-2 flat, I don't think you can play him. Because I think you have to play Lansbury as the more deep line one, which again doesn't suit him.
You want him as
a square
base.
pegs in round holes again. Diamond 4-4-2, Jedinak, that's ideal. That's what I'm saying. That formation gets your best players on the pitch. It gets them playing in the best position. It makes sense.
Yeah, he also works in a 3, doesn't he? Because he can have the other boys running around.
Same again. Yeah. You've got midfield. It's the same principle, isn't it? In a diamond or if it's a 4-3-3, you've got the midfield 3.
He is not a player that we should be. I like him as a player, Jedinak, but he's not a player that we should be building around either. He's not a spring chicken, and we need to start looking to the future rather than working out how Jedinak fits in there.
Yeah, go to some comments.
Yeah,
as well. Dan Rolinson likes to comment. He throws them all our way. So we'll go through some comments over the last week. So yes, one of the things we haven't talked about was our kit reveal. Had we done the kit reveal video?
We talked about last week.
Yeah, we've since found out that actually the shirts that we've got are player issue shirts. So we were talking about material and them being tight, and if you buy a shirt from the shop, it won't actually be the same. It'll be a completely different material, but are still Under Armour and notoriously small in their sizings anyway, so I would always buy a size up anyway, because I think if you're usually a medium, you'll need a large.
Yeah, only a couple of weeks now until if you've made your pre-order, you'll be able to pick it up, I think.
Yeah. So there's a few people running around with player issue shirts from that game.
That's pretty cool.
Bodymoor Heath. Villa Samba Brazil said he was a bit underwhelmed by Sam Johnston. Why do we need to spend a shed load of pounds on strikers, yet we seem reluctant to do the same with goalies. So that fits in with what I was saying about half measures.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Peter Crouch. Why did I say Peter Crouch just then?
I don't know.
Brian Clough is who I was thinking of.
They often get confused.
Brian Clough always used to say that your goalkeeper was your most important position.
I agree with that.
And yet often because you're a goalkeeper.
I'm not really a goalkeeper.
No, that's true.
I mess around in goal.
That is for certain. He always used to say goalkeeper's the most important position, and yet they do often get overlooked because a world-class save can be as important as a striker who's missed 3 chances and then scored 1.
Yeah.
So I agree with that. I would love us to, again, have a settled goalkeeper situation, but right now, beggars can't be choosers, and Sam Johnstone seems like a pretty good option to have.
Look at the good Man United teams, good Arsenal teams. They always had a reliable goalkeeper. My preference is an experienced goalkeeper in general.
Yeah, even the good Villa teams. You know,
Bosley.
Bosnich.
James was a good goalkeeper.
Given, Friedel.
Given didn't have his best timers, to be fair.
He was still pretty good, though.
Well, okay. He's been better than what we had in the last few years.
Yeah.
Tor Lofstad says, pleased that Johnson has signed. Would have preferred a permanent deal, though. It's really cool to see you guys doing so many videos at Villa Park. Luckily, when we are there, we do manage to cram quite a few in, and we took a punt that Johnston was coming soon. I think this is the first week on the podcast where I haven't had to say there is a signing coming soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's finally happened. Quick shout out to my in-the-know friend, Chris Dolan. He provides us with a lot of good information. So if you could give him a follow on Twitter, he's a good ITK. Actually, Chris Dolan knows a lot of people. He'll hit you up with a lot of musical needs as well as good music knowledge.
Oh, nice.
As well, yeah. A lot of 50-50s. People aren't sure about Johnston. Joey Ireland says he's 50-50 about it, but he'll 100% support him, so that's good attitude.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think if you are 50-50, then chuck your support behind him, because it can only get better if he's backed by the Villa faithful.
Yep, some comments on the Bodymoor Heath video now. Bardell could have solved Villa's goalkeeping problem with his cat-like reactions. Lynch unlucky not to get the opportunities he deserved.
Did you write that?
No, Jack Jennings. I agree with his first point. We're saying Lynch is unlucky. There's nothing unlucky about it.
Jack Jennings, I think you need to reevaluate, sir.
That guy, Dan's questioning my use of Megnuts. That's watching too much Brad Bobley on Soccer AM.
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
No, it just came out.
Yeah.
It's hard being a commentator.
But,
it's hard, but I feel I thrived in the position.
Right.
Baggy, I'm not going to say his second name, so Baggy
Man
who
you are.
Says, good to see Stan looking so well. Great vid, lads. It is great to see him looking so well, and let me tell you, he was hammering some of the people on his teams. He does not like losing even now.
There was some great little skill as well from Stan. He still got it.
Yeah, killed Kendrick.
He loves to play.
Ruined Kendrick's career. If you speak to Declan Pearce about Petrov, he'll say he was hammering me all game. Dion is just a man. What a great guy. Dion from Quertison.
Even if he sends you pictures of himself in a Leicester kit.
Yeah, no, still we don't know why that happened. Someone questioning my route one past to Heskey that just went straight out for a throw in. That was poor.
That was brilliant.
I had a dream and it didn't come off.
You have one opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Max Stokes has praised Dan Rolinson's editing, so thanks to Max. Do make sure you do check out this video if you haven't watched it, because I do think it's worth it just from an editing point of view. Of Dan Rolinson, he's a sensation. From my experiences at school, we all know that the worst kid goes in goal. Probably fair. I'm not the best outfield, I stated before, but I went in goal because I thought it gave my team the best chance of winning, and that proved correct.
Jack McNamara, Matt's first touch reminds me of Lukaku. Very poignant after his underwhelming debut the other day. And yes, spot on, I think.
I like the way you've skipped the second comment because he praised me. You couldn't bear to read it.
Thanks, Connor Mooney, for getting in touch.
Connor Mooney says, quality video, lads. Dan was decent both in goal and on commentary.
I
enjoyed being a commentator. I loved being a commentator.
These guys that just want to, I don't know, get on your follow list or something like that.
No, they don't. They know a talent when they see one. Lewis Charwood, I think this is on the podcast from last week. I'd love us to win the championship. As a 16-year-old who's only truly supported Villa since the end of the O'Neill era, I've only ever seen misery at Villa. As I said to him at 31, I feel like all I've seen is misery as well. You're probably the same.
Join the club, yeah.
Yeah, it's a miserable existence, but one day it will be worth it. Hopefully, so stick with it.
We'll get our reward.
Lewis. Struggling to read.
Too many words.
Do we have enough cover in our squad? Jamie, well, I think we've covered that.
That's why we did a great little game.
Pretty hefty, yeah. Tom, thanks for providing the ammunition for Tom Julian's game. That was a treat for everyone. I think that's probably pretty much it. Dominic McNabe just watched Talk Norwich City's podcast with Russell Martin. Any chance you could get a Villa player on the podcast in the far future, but I accept how difficult it would be. Anytime, any player, Marlon Harewood, Gareth Barry, any ex-Villa player, any level we would take on the podcast, although it would be very difficult to get them in the room. But I'm sure Tom does not mind missing a week.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't miss a week.
Fine.
I wouldn't mind giving up my chair, admittedly.
What? Stand at the back?
I think we'd have to play rock, paper, scissors for the chair.
I don't think we would. I think it would be... I've been here longer.
All right, let's cut the podcast. Let's go.
I think that's about it, isn't it?
That's about a wrap. We're about 50 minutes, so not too bad going for 3 games.
No, thank you very much for listening to our ramblings today. I appreciate for a lot of that. Actually, felt quite rambly. Tonight, but hopefully people have enjoyed it. Thanks to everyone that's rated us on iTunes. If you could keep that up, then that'd be great. I think SoundCloud's on its way out. Could be a worry to SoundCloud listeners. Yeah, check out that because I think they're on their way. I think they might have gone bust.
Oh, really?
Or something, yes. I think they've only got a few weeks left. So if you do listen to us via the medium of SoundCloud, then I might have to show you towards our YouTube channel or iTunes account.
Yeah, we can look at something else, maybe Acast or something like that. I don't know if we can make that happen, but we certainly will have a look at it for sure.
Yep, so thank you very much for listening or watching. If you could keep those reviews coming in, keep your comments coming on the podcast, and we'll feature the best ones next week. Let us know if you agree or disagree with anything that we've said via social media or in the comments below. It's a pleasure to be able to do the podcast for the Villa fans.
Always.
Stay with us. Thank you very much. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.